everybody. Welcome to Locked in the Reel. This is Shawn,
And this is Morgan.
and we are once again doing our segment on obscure animated films. And this week, we are going over our lovely film.
Happily Ever After. Woo! So good. It was first made in 1988, and then it wasn't released to Europe until 1990, and then it came to America in 1993, which is the version. I mean, it's all the same version, but we watched it in 1993.
So, Happily Ever After is basically what happens after Disney's original film, Snow White. And Snow White is running off with her Prince Charming, and they are about to get married, but along the way, they are stopped by the evil Lord Malice, who is the evil stepmother from Snow White, her brother. And he tries to stop them, but Snow White gets away because she's a little bit more of a boss-ass bitch this time. And she's going to find basically like refuge at the dwarf's house. And the dwarves are not there. And who's there? The dwarf elves. And basically, once she finds the dwarf elves, Snow White and them go on this crazy adventure to try to defeat the evil Lord Malice.
Very good, very good. So how did you feel about the film?
I mean, loving this film from childhood, I already was really excited about it. So I think going into this, I was ready for it. And unlike the Princess and the Goblin, I almost did the Princess and the Frog again, man. Okay.
Why? Every time.
The Princess and the Goblin. This movie did not disappoint. And I was pleasantly surprised by how much it really stood up and how dark it was and how captivated I felt throughout the entire thing.
Totally. I honestly had higher expectations for The Princess and the Goblin. Got it right. And low expectations for this movie. But then I was just like, oh my gosh, this is very good and very dark. I remember the same scenes that scared me as a child. Rewatching as an adult, I was like, oh no. I like watching it on my laptop. I pushed my laptop away like because I was scared. What did you think about the animation? We'll start there.
Okay, it's not great, just to be honest. But, you know, it's kind of like Princess and the Goblin. Like, obviously, the animation was nowhere near how great Disney was doing animation at the time. But the one thing that I can say about it is the character design, especially of the dwarf elves, is really inspired and creative. And once they come into the movie, it kind of just like it starts. The pace starts quickening. It just becomes more exciting and colorful and more interesting. What about you?
Totally. Same. And then a lot of the, I guess, the dialogue scenes, there would be certain points where the facial features of the characters were really great. But then when it came to the action, which is where the 1980s animation came in, and they're running, and it's just like, it's bad. And you can tell that they're using like the same cell over and over again.
I mean, once again, like you said, like, you know, they finished it in 1988. So this is very reminiscent of 80s animation, like something you'd see like Hanna-Barbera doing, like on like cartoons on television. It kind of seems like that. So you can't expect a lot from the animation, but I mean, it's not as bad as The Princess and the Goblin.
Definitely not as bad as The Princess and the Goblin. Yeah, that's very true. But yeah, not horrible. Yeah, that's all I can say really about the animation. I think like the Lord Malice character, terrifying. I love the way they designed him, the voice casting for him. So good. All of it, actually. So good.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember being super scared of Lord Malice when I was a kid, but the fact that I was still at this age, like, oh my God, like, this is frightening. And I had said in the Princess and the Goblin, video that I was like, oh, I don't know if my kid is too scary, blah blah blah. I'm like, no, 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 no. This movie is
No.
They had some balls making this movie. I'm not gonna lie, for kids.
Seriously, it is pretty terrifying. I'm very, like almost like violent, more violent than I remember you saying in our last video that you were scared of the Princess and the Goblin, and I was just laughing at you the whole time I was watching Happily Ever After. Like, oh, if he was scared of that. So terrifying. I think the sound effects were a little bit better. In The Princess and the Goblin a little bit. I feel like it was a little cheesy 80s TV show cartoony for Happily Ever After.
Yeah. I definitely I agree with you on the sound effect. I think that was like one of the standouts in Princess and the Goblin, like you brought up. And the sound effects were really good there. Not here. I mean, that's not. They're just cheesy. Yeah. But speaking of sound, the music in this movie,
love it. In this movie, no, totally. I like Thunderella. She has a song. Thunderella is played by, oh my God, Tracy Ullman.
Yeah.
Oh, so good, and it's dated, and you hear it, but I'm okay with that.
Pop song all the way. I'm living for it. I am living for that Thunderella song.
Totally. Oh my God, so good. Oh, all the songs. I'm just like, they're catchy. They stay in my head.
The Phyllis Diller Mother Nature song.
Oh, totally. So good. I just want to go out swimming. So it's so good, but it's, yeah, all the songs worked versus, like, yeah, other shows I feel like no. Yeah, I love the songs.
I mean, some people are not like them at all. It's not like Disney quality, once again bringing Disney up, but the music, it lends itself really nicely to the film, and it kind of makes it unique to me.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it wasn't like a full musical ballad, but it was unique, and it gave, and I don't know, it gave characters quick depth, just like you don't have a lot of time to spend. Here's a quick song. It's fun. You learn more about them. I liked that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's definitely not Disney, but yeah.
So speaking of Disney, so they sued the company that made this movie, and that's why it took so long. They were finished to when it was actually released in the U.S. And because
Disney.
Filmation, the company that made this film, they had done a Pinocchio movie before, and then they were working on this movie, and both of them were basically what happens after the Disney movie, if that makes sense. So, like the continuing story. So Disney sued them. They had all these issues, and then finally it was released. But do you think this film is very similar in any way to the Disney Snow White?
Not at all. Not at all. One kind of a whole new cast of characters. Even the Snow White, she doesn't spend the entire movie cleaning, and that's refreshing and nothing like the previous Snow White. So that should be enough.
Yeah.
Like,
I love it because instead of her cleaning, she's like, "I'm gonna go take a nap."
Seriously, that's like me right now during shelter. I could clean, but I'm gonna sleep. I was surprised. Like, they didn't win though, right? Like, obviously, Disney.
The Filmation went out of business. So while this was happening, and then Happily Ever After was picked up by some other company just to release it, but Filmation went out of business because of it.
Oh, that's sad. Disney. Again, strikes again. It's taking over all the independent. It's so sad. And I really, honestly, I enjoy, I would rewatch this movie before I watch Disney Snow White. For 100%. Sure. Right?
Yeah. Let's not crap on the original Snow White. It was the first feature-length theatrical animated film. So we love it for what it is. But I mean, this one's more enjoyable.
It is more action, more female strength. Like,
Talk about in a time when a lot of animated movies was still like the women, like the princesses, it's like woe is me, damsels in distress. Like this movie actually like women empowerment. We have all the dwarf elves and they're, they have their
yes.
weaknesses, but they also have their like many strengths, and Snow White isn't as much of a pussy. Is that the
No,
right
seriously.
word?
That I think that is accurate to how you would describe the previous Snow White too. No,
Yeah.
she's great. Like she doesn't need exactly Prince Charming to save her. I just want to point out, no spoiler, but she does bitch slap Lord Malice, and I fucking love it. Like, just like whoa. So I mean, like, yes, that's great. um, and the moral that was great, right? And I do love the more morals of the story. Like, Mother Nature says something along the lines of like, "Oh, my favorite creatures are the humans because they love so deeply and feel loss as well, and that's what makes them unique." And I'm just like, yeah.
And
Versus,
she, like, I originally, when I was a kid, I mean, I didn't say this out loud, but I'm like, Mother Nature's kind of a bitch because Thunderella, she, like, wants to get rid of Thunderella's powers. I'm like, how dare you? She just sang this amazing song, and you're going to take away her. And then, but the role is, like, Thunderella finds her strength, and, Mother Nature just wanted her to get there and was, like, pushing her to be better, So I like that.
yes, I love that too. You're right. Mother Nature, I did like kind of be like, why are you being so mean, Mother Nature? Support her. And then that's so good. What else?
We talk
Like
about the
there's like, I think, can we talk about the end? Okay, you go first.
I think that the last 20 minutes of this movie is really what makes it, and the Mother Nature scene. And I'm not going to give away any spoilers because obviously we want people to watch the films. But the last 20 minutes are really powerful. We have a character who's following them around in the shadows. He's kind of like this creepy guy. You don't know if he's good, if he's bad, what he's up to. His character arc kind of comes to, its peak, and then there's the showdown, and it just really, it's frightening. It is intense. There's some really dark imagery in there, and I just am all for it. This movie ends on such a high note for me.
I love it. Sometimes I feel like a lot of like even like the ending can lose momentum in a way, but this one it just gained it, and it met its peak, and the action was great. The animation was even more like you could tell they put effort into it. It was terrifying. I loved it. I loved it. Oh my gosh, every shot was purposeful, and it was just concise, which was great too. Oof, I love it. Terrifying though. I don't know if I would let a young child watch this movie.
It's definitely not for young kids. I mean, I don't know how old I was when I first watched it. I think maybe like 5 or 6.
I would say around that age too.
Scared when I watched it when I was a kid. I wouldn't watch it for the longest time, and then I finally rewatched it, and I couldn't stop watching it over and over and over.
I love that. I mean, I remember scenes specifically around Lord Malice's character, and I would have to like fast forward a little bit just so I wouldn't have to watch them, and then like, okay, this is safe now. I remember doing that on the finicky VCR, just like, gotta go back, damn it. Okay. uh, it's just so good. I was really scared that I wasn't gonna like it, and so good.
So, do you have any other points to bring up before we talk about our final grades?
No, I think we covered everything. I think for the turmoil that this went through is an overall great film, and um, just wonderful. Really, just I would rewatch it.
Me too.
Yeah. What do you
Totally.
think? Okay.
I just to finish it off. I think that this movie is, it's kind of an acquired taste, and it's not Disney's Snow White. This is a whole different thing. It lives in its own time warp of the 80s. But it's exciting, it's thrilling, it's dark and frightening. I enjoyed pretty much all of it. I've gone back and forth a little bit, but I definitely am going to give it a B plus.
Nice, nice. I agree with what you said. I give it a B. I love just like it could have been like I don't know, like there was like actually now like one scene where it's just like a little too cartoony and I don't know, animation was not as good for me, but better better plot than the Disney Snow White. I love the characters, the strength, the songs, um, and it was just terrifying and dark. And I kind of love animation that's dark, especially for children. I it was
Okay.
I mean, wouldn't have a young child watch it, but like as my dark black soul kid, like I would be like, yeah, I'm ready for this. It was just all around an enjoyable film, and I will rewatch it.
Absolutely. It's definitely one that when my kids are a little bit old enough, I will have them watch this film for sure.
Totally,
So,
totally.
for our next segment of Obscure Animated Films, what were you thinking?
I was thinking, Once Upon a Forest. How would
Okay.
you feel about that?
I
Okay.
like I haven't seen it in quite a while. I was probably maybe in junior high, so don't remember a lot
Hmm.
of it.
Me neither. I don't remember anything. Just a couple images in my head, but honestly nothing. And it's hard to find, and it's really like obscure. Like other people just it's obscure, and I just want to rewatch it for myself. So it'll be fun to talk
Exactly.
about with you.
Okay, we're gonna do it. Once Upon a Forest next week. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Please subscribe and watch our other videos. Have a good night. I don't know why I said have a good night, but goodbye.
Bye.